today we're going to be drinking some beverages with y'all, answering your questions, talking some Blue Jays rumors, the whole freaking shebang. I'm your host, Nicholas Blaylock.
And I'm your host, Adam Peddle. And yes, this is the Wine on Wine. Welcome, everybody.
Woo!
Y'all know the rules. If you have questions, you throw them in capital letters in the chat, and we'll be sure to get to them. But we obviously have some things we want to talk about. And first things first. What are you drinking?
I got the mango margarita this evening, everybody. Back on the margarita binge. Just basically refreshed all of my syrups. Highly recommend. This has 3 shots in it. I'm not gonna taste them at all.
Wow, incredible! It actually is quite incredible because you put a shot of lime in there, you get the syrups in there, you get the triple sec, you get the tequila, and that's it.
I'll taste the goddamn
That's
thing.
it. There's no mix. Other than that, that's everything.
No.
It's
What
incredible.
do you have this evening, man?
I have a Modelo, not sponsored. Incredible. I love Modelos. They're like Corona, but I think slightly better. Corona, I need a lime. Modelo, I could drink it straight.
Okay, respect Modelo. Maybe if you do want to hit us with the sponsorship, then feel free. We're just out here looking for that.
That's right.
The boys are struggling.
Ryan!
Shout out Ryan for hopping in right there, saying what's up. I'm worried we're gonna miss a lot of games this year, and don't worry, we will definitely be talking about that. But do worry, because probably what we have to say is going to echo what you have to say as well, man. There is definitely cause for concern.
I'm going to play Mr. Optimism.
I would love that.
So there's something, later that we're going to talk about.
Absolutely.
I really want to talk about that later.
But with that being said, great transition. Is there anything optimistic, Mr. Optimism, about what Ross Stripling has come out and said, and about how he thinks that they were trying to get a fast one by him? They were throwing the fastball.
Yeah.
And they were hoping that the players would swing a miss.
Trying to get them a little jammed on the hands, you know.
A little bit.
But they didn't. They took the pitch. Basically what happened, guys, is late night on that Monday night, the MLB was trying to sneak some things right by them. Right here it says Blue Jays right-hander Ross Stripling lobbed some fairly eye-opening accusations towards ownership in the manner in which their proposals suddenly changed late in the game. Okay, the two sides spoke late Monday evening and into the early hours Tuesday morning. MLB's proposal suddenly included notable changes regarding the luxury tax. The Stripling implies that the changes extended beyond mere alterations, to the threshold levels and penalty rates, instead featuring completely new items that had not been previously presented.
So basically, it's the 11th hour right now. We're all tired. We think we're getting somewhere, and the MLB is like, oh, wait a second. We were adding in these couple things too. Remember this thing that you agreed to?
I don't even know if they probably did, I don't know how they do negotiations, but apparently it's like they didn't even bring it up. They just got like, okay, this is our agreement. There's all everything. Here we go. And then they looked it over and they're like, wait a minute. Wait a minute.
If that's the case, then that is definitely well, I don't know if that's slimy actually.
It's kind of smart if you're trying to win a negotiation, but they basically, I think Ross Stripling also says oh, here it is. They were trying to sneak things through us. It was like they think we're dumb baseball players and we're getting sleepy after midnight or something. So basically, they thought that's what Ross Stripling's saying, is that they thought they were stupid.
Okay.
You know?
Okay. I mean, I'd be interested to hear how the actual talks kind of went. Not at midnight time. Were they going over everything that they were saying, blah, 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 or, was it like that the entire time where it's like we write out what's on our page, we hand it over to you, it's up to you to do your due diligence and read what we wrote down here, or are they just actually trying to screw them all over because they think that they're dumb baseball players, which clearly they aren't, because they haven't accepted it yet. But
no, I agree. And apparently another thing too, the MLB, apparently, I don't know if it's said in this article, but I read it somewhere else, the MLB was trying to play the media a lot in that last 24 hours.
Absolutely, they were, dude.
Because they were trying to tell them that things are looking good.
Right.
And then they wanted the final hammer being like, okay, things are looking good. Here's the final deal. And then the players to say no, because they were trying to spin it on the players.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I do remember that, and I remember seeing a bunch of tweets from the players during that last 24 hours basically saying things are not close. Do not believe this. Things couldn't be further away.
Right.
I remember seeing that, and Jeff Passan coming out and saying it's like, no, we've had union representatives say this is BS. This is not the case.
We both kind of believed it right off the top. Right?
What?
that things were getting really close.
Well,
Things
dude,
were looking really
I
good.
mean, I didn't really buy into it too much. I know that you were buying into it a little bit more. There was hopefulness.
Fair
yeah.
enough, but I know that we both were a little like, "Ooh, don't do this."
I was hopeful. I knew that it was never going to happen, though. Like, it was never going to happen. And frankly, I think moving forward, too, it's just like, I don't believe any of the nonsense that's coming out.
Yeah, why should we? Why should we?
Why should we?
The media's being manipulated.
I've heard stuff about, and here's what I mean. I've heard stuff about Scott Boras that I know is true or not true. I've heard stuff about Manfred. I've heard stuff about the union. I've heard stuff about Max Scherzer coming out and saying nonsense. Like, I have heard a bunch of stuff about a bunch of people doing a bunch of other crap that I don't know if it's true or not. And there's no way that I'm ever going to know until a deal gets signed and, like, all of the information gets revealed. But because right now a deal's not signed and it's in everyone's best interest to slander the other person and to not tell the truth, basically, make themselves look better, I can't possibly believe a single thing that I'm hearing.
I just want to like not talk about CBA anymore. I don't like talking about, like, I talk about it because that's the only thing to talk about, right? Then there's rumors and there's ideas and there's all this stuff. But this is like the actually only thing that's happening, and it kind of sucks, and I hate it, and it's annoying.
Absolutely, it's annoying.
Like,
yeah,
it's like when a player on the field hits 300, he hits 300. But it's like in these negotiations, it's like what's true, what's false, what's not. I don't know. It's all word of mouth. It's all through fucking media wire.
Yeah, absolutely, dude. And that's what I mean, right? It's like we don't know what is accurate, what is not, which media to trust and which media not to trust, because for all we know, maybe in actuality, maybe the union is like being totally underhanded and they're coming out here, and maybe the MLB is, actually going about this properly, trying to get a deal done as much as possible. I don't know. I don't think that's the reality, but I can't say for sure.
Also, Atlanta's saying not following them as close as you guys, but does each team have a player representative at the table? And yes, they do. Ross Stripling was ours, so that's why we've actually talked about him twice now regarding the CBA.
Well, I'm happy that Ross Stripling's doing something for the squad.
Yeah.
Like he's probably contributing maybe even more than he contributes on the field.
And Ross Stripling honestly seems like a smart guy. If you ever hear his like post-game conferences, he actually has very intelligent post-games.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. I mean, like, you got to bring something to the team.
Yeah,
a little bit of shade. A little bit of shade going on right here. But you got to bring something, man. Ross Stripling, though, I will never forget, he had the clearest and most obvious cheating I've ever seen in my life, dude. We straight up saw it, guys. Like, it was on the big screen of Sportsnet. This must have been in 2018, I think it was.
No, it was 2020.
No, it wasn't. It was definitely not 2020.
He was in a Blue Jay uniform.
We were at Patrick's place, dude.
He was in a Blue Jay uniform.
It wasn't 2020 though. I know for a fact it wasn't 2020.
We saw it again in 2020 though.
Maybe so, but the instance that I'm referring to was 1000% not 2020. It was 2018 or 2019, guaranteed.
He was on the Dodgers.
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah, because I remember there was one game where he was in baby blue, and it's like he literally went bang bang, and there was like literally a giant brown smudge in this dude's forearm.
Potentially,
bang, bang,
I mean, like,
touches the ball.
Well, it's like obviously he does do it, but yeah, he was not smart about hiding it for sure.
Hilarious, but
JD's the third. The media and most content creators have become the players' public relations firm, just to have access to these superstars. And I don't really know what you mean by that, but that sounds smart, and yeah, I'll buy into it if that's the case. Did you hear anything about the whole Scott Boras thing? Any thoughts on that?
I saw the headlines. I honestly didn't look into it too much. Do you have a thought?
No, I didn't really hear. I didn't actually look into it too much either. I mean, it seems to me that is kind of ridiculous, though. Again, I haven't done my research, so I could be very ignorant to this. And I know that Ballcap Sports, shout out Ballcap Sports, he released some audio. I don't know how he got access to this audio, but apparently he released some audio of Scott Boras that was talking about this.
Maybe he found it somewhere.
Maybe he found it somewhere. I don't know. But how on earth Scott Boras has so much influence with all these players, I don't really understand. And frankly, everybody's coming out here and blaming Scott Boras and saying if Scott Boras hadn't have done this, then a deal would get done. And maybe that's the case. But guys, it's not Scott Boras' fault. It's the players' fault for listening to Scott Boras. He's their agent. He's going to do what's in his best interest to get the most money for him.
Exactly.
And those players decided to listen to him if that's the case, right? Like, he doesn't have anything to do with being at the table at all.
Not even part of the union.
No, he has literally nothing to do with that at all.
And apparently every team does not have a representative. My apologies, JD's third. So
a small select group is representing everyone. Really, I thought that everyone had like some sort of representative of some kind that
That's
like
what I thought.
Yeah, like it was at least talking in some sort of group of some kind, but we could definitely be wrong about that.
I just drink beers and sit in my living room.
Yeah.
But yes. So final thoughts on Ross Stripling and the MLB potentially trying to fool them.
I mean, like that's kind of like that's stupid. That's dumb. If that's the case, I don't think that's dumb.
Nick, yeah,
that's a stupid thing. I don't really buy into
I love it.
Yeah,
I love it.
Will Chance's Chicken Strip having none of the shenanigans from the owners, dude. Yeah, I mean, like again, Chicken Strip. Like if you can get that done, like definitely do it. J.A. saying Stripling is underrated. Y'all tripping. Hey, I mean, we could be doing that as well. Like I'm so down for Stripling to do some good work on the baseball field. This year, I'd love to talk more about the actual baseball field and what people do on it, rather than this nonsense. But
I think that we're all remembering the Ross Stripling that pitched for like 2 months and was like really elite. Like he actually was like elite for like 2 months.
I'm not really remembering that Ross Stripling.
You don't remember that Ross Stripling?
I'm pretty confident.
Remember it,
I know what
block him out.
No, I'm not trying to block anything out. I just understand that the overall body of work is not reflective of that 2-month-long Ross Stripling.
And that's what I'm saying is I think people are like leaning on that, because if you look at that, you're like, wow, and that really sticks out in my mind. But it's like, yeah, you kind of forget like he also pitched like 4 other months,
right?
Baseball.
And JD's third. Scott Boras represents 5 out of 8 players on the table. Do your research, please. Dude, I said that he might represent all of these people, but he's not actually sitting at that table. Therefore, he can talk to his players. He can maybe have an opinion with his players, but he has no influence over the overall ongoings of said conversation. Dude. It's up to his players to then make that decision.
And I think that we made it clear. It's like we literally just read the headline. Like I think like right before we started talking about that, we're like, we actually don't know anything here.
Right.
Continue to talk. So you shouldn't be surprised that we don't know the actual numbers.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. That is also true, though. Also, I do appreciate what Buddy said about Stripling being underrated, and not necessarily because I agree with that, because I don't know if Stripling is underrated. I feel like Stripling's probably like properly rated, like. Probably, I think people understand what he is.
Yeah, I know his role. 5th guy, long guy in the bullpen, comes in for injuries. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
He's always been that guy. He's been a good that guy.
Yeah, he's been fine as that dude. Like, he's been decent as that guy.
He's that guy.
Granted, we have our guy Dylan over on Twitter. He's doing a little short right now, or at least organizing one, talking about the most underrated players on specific baseball teams. He was going through the NL East looking at that today, and like that was pretty cool. But I think that comment plus what Dylan was doing kind of got me thinking, like, who is the most underrated Toronto Blue Jay like these days, like coming into 2022, I guess.
I feel like I've said it a bunch, or we've said it a bunch. Is Santiago Espinal is one of the most underrated guys.
Could be.
I think so. I think Romano's starting to get pretty rated. Yeah, like I think a lot of like fans around baseball rate him like as one of the better closers in the league. So I honestly would say Santiago Espinal.
That's reasonable. I think that you're right. Romano gets rated by the fans. I don't think that he has the apparation or the acknowledgement, of everybody around the league necessarily. I don't think that you're gonna find a Dodgers fan or a Angels fan or any fan pretty much of anyone who maybe not in the AL East is gonna know Jordan Romano. And that's reasonable. There are definitely some closers out there that I'm not as familiar with over in the NL necessarily, who are probably doing good stuff like Romano is.
You know what needs to happen is we need to go to a postseason game. Yeah. And then people will start knowing. Because I started learning a lot about the Atlanta Braves bullpen. Like, I knew about Will Smith, but I start to really know about Will Smith. Yeah. And there's another guy in their pen, and he's like a hard name to pronounce. Yeah. But I started knowing, I'm like, oh, this guy's elite, too. Now I know him.
No, you're absolutely right, dude, and that's the thing. Because why do I have any reason to know about you if you're not going to be in the postseason? Yeah. You have to give me a reason to know about you. If you win games in the playoffs, I go, oh, holy shit!
Yeah, oh, you're good.
There's that guy right there. He can lock it down. Against the best lineups when the pressure's on.
I love it. Hey, this is actually I thought about this one too. Jay coming in here saying Adam Simber.
That's a pretty good one too. Actually,
he's very underrated. No one will. See, I guarantee you someone from the NL West will have... Oh, I guess maybe if they played the Miami Marlins. But I guess if someone far away from the Toronto Blue Jays would be like, Adam Simber, like, huh? Like,
not even that, but even the good... Because he's not even a closer. he is a setup guy,
That's
right?
That's what I'm saying.
And like very rarely, even the good setup guys on other teams, I don't really know them.
They have to be former closers like the Chicago White Sox.
Yes.
All three of them are former closers.
They have to be some of the best sort of setup guys in the league, right? You look at a guy like Joe Kelly, and he's a bullpen guy, but the main reason that I know him is not of his on-the-field talent. It's because of his freaking, like...
2020 thing with the Astros.
Exactly, and, like, throwing at them and stuff like that. And now I know him, and I'm like, oh, you are very good on the field as well, right? But I never knew about him prior to that.
Exactly.
Same thing with Simber, too, I think, with a lot of other people. I also think that, and Sebastian comes in here with
Teoscar, which honestly, yeah, it's kind of crazy. You'd think he wasn't rated properly, even though he was an all-star.
I think he's rated, though. I think he's rated. I think so.
He's, like, properly rated?
I do believe so, man. I guarantee, and here's the test for me. I bet and I haven't listened to John Boy's podcast in a long time, but I guarantee if you got Jake, if you got John Boy, you got Trevor Plouffe talking about Teoscar Hernandez, they would talk about him in a very high regard.
That's true, but they're also really close to us in terms of the AL East. Like, they know all about him.
I agree.
You know what I mean?
I agree, but I don't think that they would talk about some, like, Santiago Espinal for them would fall totally flat.
Yeah,
like, they'd have no idea about Santiago Espinal. Whereas I think at this point, at this point, they would look at Teoscar, and I think that they would be like, he's right up there in the conversation of, Bo Bichette on our lineup and like George Springer on our lineup. Like, I think that they know him as a guy, a staple of the Toronto Blue Jays.
Be careful of Teoscar Hernandez.
Yeah. I think too, and I always kind of like echo this guy and champion him the entire way, but I do believe that the Lord has never got the praise that the Lord has. And part of the reason is because he has never had an entire 162 games of like full-on potential hitting stuff.
And I think he gets lost in the bottom of the lineup too.
He also gets lost in that 6, in that 7, in that 8 spot. And Montoya refuses to put him higher. This year, though, it might have to be just out of straight necessity, considering Marcus Semion's not going to be around anymore. And if Biggio's going to flop, then, Lord, you're going to have to be 5 or 6.
Yeah, Lord will be.
At least.
He should be, unless we get a lefty, and then he's 7 again.
Exactly. Well, even if Biggio's good, right, it's like you got Springer, you got Biggio, you got Vlad, you got Bo, you got Tio. Lord has to be 6 now, in my opinion.
True.
Right?
Unless we get, like, I don't know, he even did
another lefty.
Dude, he even did this sometimes, too. Like, and I love Kirk. He put Kirk, then the Lord. But I think Lord's better than Kirk.
I do believe so, yeah.
Yeah, so...
Yeah. I mean, that's not abhorrent to me, because I do... Like Kirk's got a very good ability to get on base.
Yeah,
he does.
Lord doesn't have.
That's
that
the thing.
Much,
like he is more of a I can hit the baseball very well. So I guess I understand what Montoya is doing there, where it's like Kirk gets on, maybe Lord batsman. We have a little bit of a bottom half thing going on.
That's where I like. I'd rather have like guys who can drive and runs in that middle part, and then like Kirk push him down towards the bottom, so that sets up the top half.
Very true as well. Yeah, I think it's. It all depends how the innings kind of go about it, right? It's like if you go through 4 people in the first inning, then maybe Montoya's strategy works out pretty well. You kind of get a fresh new inning, and then it's like you get people on base, and then you have other people. But yeah, I do agree. It's like usually it's like you want to get your meat in the freaking middle parts, and then you have like speedy dudes and dudes who have high OBPs on the outside, and like that makes a lot of sense.
It kind of it's like a fluid motion, like top part of the lineup, bottom part of the lineup on base, and it's like usually bottom part of the lineup don't have as much pop as the top part. And then like that middle part's like just driving runs, power, and all that kind of stuff.
And Atlanta, honestly, exactly what I was going to segue to as well. If we're talking about all the underrated guys on our team. And there is a lot of underrated dudes. I think Adam Simber was a great one. I think the Lord's a great one. I do think Kirk could be in that conversation, and Espinal as well. But as far as overrated guys,
that's tough.
Who is a dude on the Blue Jays who is like full up overrated? He is overrated. I'm going to say it right now. I think that the fan base overrates Randall Grichuk.
Yeah. I mean, the fan base. Yeah, I agree.
I think that our fan base
won't.
I think that the league understands it. But I think that I talk a decent amount of smack about Randall Grichuk, but I think that my opinion of Randall Grichuk's probably echoed around most of baseball, except in the biases of the Toronto Blue Jays fan and Toronto Blue Jays organization.
Okay, I got one. The reason why I'm picking this guy is because I saw an article that included this guy as part of the core aces for the Toronto Blue Jays. Ryu might be still in that. He might be starting to become overrated.
Are people still thinking that Ryu's good? Like
when someone in an article was like, "Oh, they've got Barrios, the Ryu." You know, like, he wasn't even the last one. He was in the middle, and it was like, guys, did you not see what happened? So I think he's starting, to the league at least, to like a fan base perspective. I think I'm now starting to like lower my rating.
Yeah.
But the league might overrate him when they see him initially.
That's true. I guess if you missed out on what he did last year, if you weren't paying too much attention, you are a Dodger fan, for instance. You weren't paying a lot of attention. You look at the Blue Jays, you go, oh, they got Ryu.
Remember Ryu, he's so elite.
Meanwhile, Ryu's out here with his 4.37 ERA and absolutely destroyed with no sticky stuff.
We got a Sebastian saying Springer.
And I was thinking Springer about it as well. But the problem with Springer is I think that he's properly rated in the sense of, when he's healthy, he's all-star caliber, and I think that the league understands that he has a problem when it comes to staying healthy.
Yeah, and being unhealthy doesn't mean you're overrated. It's like, you are really good, you're just not healthy.
Yeah.
And here's another good one. Jay saying Nate Pearson.
You think he's overrated?
I think he was number one prospect at one point for the Toronto Blue Jays.
Right, but he's obviously not anymore. He's fallen off. Like, do you think that people still look at him as?
Even you said it yourself before. It's like, you expect him like to get a really good shot at a rotation this year. It's like, but what if he's just done it? What if he's just not going to?
But but I don't think that that's me overrating him, though. I think I'm saying, like, I want him to have an opportunity. You know, like, I think that he is worth an opportunity. I'm not saying that he's gonna be good.
Right.
I have no idea.
Right.
I just want to see him get a chance here. You know, and then I'm hoping, I'm crossing my fingers that he can be good. But I also understand that everything that we've seen from Nate Pearson so far, other than like 12 innings out of the bullpen, have been Garbosian. I am going to say overrated still then, because I think he came in with a rating and he fell way below. And it's like, I feel like it's like I'm trying to get it lower, but I'm still like, no, like, it's still right. Nate Pearson, you know, he's gonna be great, like, hopefully one day, and it's like, but it's like, what if he's just absolutely ass? So in that regard, then would you also say that Biggio's overrated? Yeah, you think Biggio's overrated? Just a bit overrated. I do. I think that Biggio's more overrated on the league aspect of things. Yes, I agree. I think the league sucks him off more. The league absolutely, exactly. The league definitely kind of like sucks Biggio off just a little bit here, because he came up with the young core of Bo, of Vladdy. He's still occasionally thrown around in that conversation of young studs that the Blue Jays have, and I agree that he's young. I don't necessarily think he's earned the title of stud quite yet, but I do think that the league really likes some Kevin Biggio, probably because of his father, also because when he was coming up, he was talked about as maybe even better than Bo Bichette, sort of thing. You know, like he was I think the second guy to come up with the three. Yeah, Bo Bichette came later. Yeah, I remember too. Like, I knew Bo Bichette was coming, but I didn't know when, and it was like, oh, Biggio's probably better than Bo because, you know, first of all, the dad, he's a Hall of Fame dad. And I'm like, oh, and like he's coming up next after Vlad. So I was in the same boat. I was in the same boat. Yeah, absolutely. You think any of the young dudes like Bo is overrated at all, or Vlad's overrated? No. They're properly rated at this point. I think because, like, first of all, like, how do you overrate Vlad when he was the best hitter in baseball last year? Yeah. You know, it's like, you can't really. And it's like, with Bo, it's like, we know exactly what he is. And it's like, that's what he is. And with this whole time, like, we even had a lot of criticism about Bo Bichette last year, about his swing and his approach, and he's just impatient. But it's like, well, it's getting it done, so it's like, all right, well, that's it. You know, that's what he is. So I'm not like, wow, like, he has the greatest approach. I mean, I personally don't think it's the greatest ideal approach. I think, like, Vladdy's is much better. But, like, Bo's works, so it is what it is. So I think he's Bo Bichette a top 5 shortstop in the league? No. Really? You don't think so? No, not yet. Defense is not there.
at all.
Okay,
Yeah.
you're right. Yeah, defensively. What
He's just not
about
there.
on a pure offensive standpoint? Is he a top 5 shortstop?
Well, we got Tatis.
Absolutely. Tatis is locked in at number 1, I do
We got
believe.
Trey Turner.
Trey Turner's better than Bo Bichette. Yeah, Trey Turner's better than Bo Bichette.
We got
I'll give you
Carlos Correa. What did you say? Carlos Correa better or
that.
than
Not
Bo
sure.
Bichette?
I think
Tough to say.
I think that they're different because Carlos Correa does not hit for as much average. I think he walks a little bit more than Bo. But he doesn't hit as much for average. He does hit for a lot more power, though. Granted, we have to factor in the fact that Bo Bichette is going to steal you potentially 30 bags once he gets on the field as well. So there is that regard as well. I don't know if Carlos Correa is a locked in better than Bo Bichette sort of thing.
All right. Well, what about Corey Seager?
I'd probably say Corey Seager is better than Bo Bichette. Yeah, granted, it's difficult because Corey Seager's dealt with a lot of injuries, but I still think that Corey Seager, from a hitting standpoint, is still like just coming into his own, and I do believe we're going to see like several 900 OPS seasons from Corey Seager in the future. Bogarts, is Bogarts better than Bo?
I think right now he is. Yeah. I think so. I remember his numbers. It's like higher 800, like 900 sometimes with OPS. So I would say Xander Bogaerts, yes.
Xander Bogaerts
just
better,
pure offensive, like pure hitting that we're talking about. So that's 4. And can you name a 5th one? Maybe this is where it's a Turner. Like I don't. Marcus Semien played second, so I don't really.
No, he's not
sure
shortstop.
about that.
He's not shortstop anymore.
Um,
He's better than Trevor Story. He's better than
Trevor Story.
I mean, at this point in the career, I mean, I
Tim
trust
Anderson.
he's better than Tim Anderson.
I think he's better than Tim
Better
Anderson.
than Tim Anderson. I trust him more than Francisco Lindor.
Oh yeah, that's a
season.
fact. If Francisco Lindor was still good, he'd be there immediately. But
Probably,
he's not.
Yeah,
he's
not.
not.
I mean, I trust him more than Francisco Lindor. Like, who else is really good in this league? Like, you know, I trust him more than Wander Franco. I trust him more. I'm having a hard time thinking of like another extremely elite shortstop here that I would want to have rather than Bo Bichette, you know?
All right, I'm gonna put Bo Bichette number 5.
Yeah.
For right now, unless I'm missing something.
Yeah, I
don't think I am.
I do believe that Tatis is better than him.
Yeah, Tatis is the best.
Tatis
or
is better
Trey
than
Turner, one of them.
Yeah, I think probably Tatis. I'd say Tatis.
Turner.
Trey Turner, definitely. You know, but I also think too, it's like we had Bogarts, we had Corey Seager better than him, we had Carlos Correa a little bit worse than him. I think that those 4 guys are in like their own tier.
Yeah, I agree.
You know?
Yeah, I agree.
I'd say that like Tatis and Tatis and Trey Turner are in tier 1, and then tier 2 is in no particular order Bogarts, Corey Seager, Carlos Correa, and Bo Bichette. That's tier 2 for me.
Okay.
And then there's probably a tier 3 where you're looking at, you know,
Trevor Story,
Tim Anderson,
you
know, maybe Lindor as well.
Lindor,
right?
yeah,
It's
Lindor dropped because Lindor was like top tier.
Tier 1.
Tier 1, he dropped last year.
Yeah, and he dropped majorly, right? So it's like we can't continue to put him in that conversation. But
okay, Bo Bichette, top 5 shortstop.
Yeah.
You heard it here first.
Yeah, so maybe we're overrating him. I don't know. I think that's a proper rating in my opinion. I feel like there was not a whole lot of bias going into that, you know?
No,
it's I do respect all of those hitters and everything. So, you know, and we just did our first baseman thing yesterday, folks, and Vladimir Guerrero Jr. There wasn't a whole lot of bias involved in that either. Vladdy was tier 1 first baseman, but I think that everybody around the league is going to say that Vladdy is tier 1. If Tatis is tier 1 of shortstops, Vladdy should be tier 1 of first baseman.
Yeah.
So,
who do we have with? There was 3 guys: Freeman, him,
and Goldschmidt. Yeah, exactly. And yeah, it's like Freeman. Here's the thing, right? It's like I do believe that Vladdy over the next 5 years will have better overall numbers than those 2, but those 2 are in there based on what they have done in their careers. Like, they've never done anything bad, you know?
Yo, Jay is saying what happened to Baez, and I think I'd put him in that like 4th tier area, like kind of grouping him with the Stories and all those guys. I didn't forget about him, honestly.
Yeah, I definitely forgot about Baez too. But he's good.
Yeah,
he's good. I don't think that he's as good as Bo Bichette. I don't think he's as good as Corey Seager or Carlos Correa or anything like that. Like, I do think he has that potential. And he had about 2 seasons there. It was 2017, 2018, or 2018, 2019, I think it was, where like Baez was like freaking awesome. Like, you could argue like he was in the Bogarts conversation in the, you know, that sort of area. And then it's just never really been the same as that. I think that he can get back there. He has like all the raw capabilities.
He's in Detroit now. He's the guy.
right.
Right?
Fuck, they signed him,
They
didn't
signed
they?
him. Yes, they
I
did.
totally forgot about that. It's been so long since we've been in the free agency madness that there's going to be so many. I'm like, whoa, because I remember today we were talking about it. Mark Canha to the Mets. I totally forgot that the Mets did that. I knew that they did that.
Escobar.
I knew that they did that too. But Mark Canha, I totally forgot about Canha. You know, but like they're crazy, man. They're crazy.
That was wild.
The fact that they're still looking at people as well after they've gone out and they've got those guys.
They want Chris
plus
Bryant.
Max Scherzer.
Like what?
You know,
they want Chris Bryant.
They could get Freddie Freeman. I don't know if those rumors are accurate or not, but they could.
They could get anybody they want.
They could get any. Here's the thing: I can't say that. Oh, they're not going to get him. You know, because I was about to say, oh, they have Pete Alonso there. Well, guess what? We have Vladimir Guerrero Jr. at first, and we're talking about him.
Yeah, like now that there's a universal DH, there will be for sure a universal DH in this new CBA. So like, put Freeman at first, and Pete Alonso can just be DH.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, for real. Yeah, actually, Pete Alonso is probably the perfect DH.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Pete Alonso is probably like one of the like guys that I want as my DH, like 100%.
Just hit.
You know?
That's all you need
Just
to
hit.
do.
Like, don't ever come into the field, man. I don't actually know what his fielding capability is, but
apparently Draftnik Mark said it's like getting better. Which, from a Mets perspective, means it's still not okay.
Right.
So we'll see. Anything else in the chat, guys? Put your questions into the chat, and we can talk about it. We can go on about it. Was there anything else that you want to kind of bring up and talk about here, Nick?
Well, we did sign a dude today.
We did sign a dude today.
We actually signed a guy, everybody. The Blue Jays have gone out. They made a move.
Woo!
It's a massive. Just kidding. No, it's not. But it's a move nonetheless. His name is Eric Stamets. S-T-A-M. There he is. Eric Stamets. So this is going to be a minor league guy for us. Holy shit, that's awful.
You're 30.
Yeah.
It's only 41. Only 41 at bats. Only 41 at bats.
Yeah.
Okay,
that's not good.
So he's barely played.
Barely played at all. I mean, he's a minor league guy.
Dude, he hasn't played since 2019. Yeah, he's played
a minor league guy.
minors.
I think there's an article about this on MLB Trade Rumors. Can we see that?
Oh, yes,
I think
there
there
is.
should be something about this here, and I didn't get to look too much into it, but there it is. Blue Jays sign Eric Stamets to minor league deal. The Blue Jays have signed shortstop Eric Stamets to a minor league contract per an announcement from his agents at blah, 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 blah. He spent last season in the Rockies minor league system and became a minor league free agent at season's end, which makes him eligible to sign even during the ongoing lockout. So he's 30 years old. He's got 15 games of big league experience, all coming with Cleveland back in 2019. But hey, we signed a dude. And what did he do in AAA? And back was in AAA Columbus by mid-April. Stamets hit 244, 312, and 379 in Columbus over the remainder of that season, and was eventually removed from the 40-man roster after the trade deadline had passed.
It's just so sad that this is the only news we have.
And also what's even more sad is I believe that those are the AAA numbers.
Yes, they are. They are. And they always say everything goes down 50 points, or your batting average goes down 50
On
points.
Average,
so he's probably a 180, probably a 200 hitter at best.
Well, what was he in his short time here? 49.
Yeah. No, he hit 220.
No, he didn't, dude. That's
it's projections.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, 0.49.
No, he hit 49.
0.49.
Yeah.
He has 2 major league hits. One of them's a double.
Hey, look at that power. Look at that raw power.
Yeah.
And Eric Stamets, baby. The raw power in the new Blue Jays minor league shortstop, Eric Stamets.
What do you think? Triple A, double A? Honestly, probably Triple A, because he's at the age where it's like Double A is more
Can't really be in Double A at 30 years old.
Double A is more for the young prospects to grow. Triple A is for like, crap, we need someone, because they're in Buffalo too. It's like, we need someone quick right now to just come play.
Yeah, play with the young guys.
And I can use your I'm gonna burn through your options.
Totally.
You know, just burn through his options. I guess if Bo gets hurt, we're gonna.
You think we think we bring that guy? There's no way, dude.
I don't know who's next. Oh, sure, we probably over elsewhere.
Groshans.
What if they're both hurt?
then we're fucked.
Then we gotta bring
then
him out.
Eric
Then
Stamets
he's
is coming up,
baby.
baby. There you have it, guys. That's the pathway for Eric Stamets right now, dude. It's like back in the day when you were like 8th in line for the throne. You know, and there was like multiple people, and Eric Stamets is like, how am I going to get to Yankees? You know, it's like, Bo's gotta go. Espinal's probably gotta drop.
Yep.
You gotta have Elvis. You gotta have Groshans drop. There's probably like 1 or 2 other prospects involved in there that probably have to go as well. And then Eric Stamets, baby, coming in. And he's also got in that entire time, he's got to dodge a big trade, because it's like if I'm the Blue Jays and I'm seeing this, I'm like, oh my God, we need to acquire somebody now.
Somebody gonna take out Ross Atkins too?
You have to. You're gonna have to, man. That's the only way. That's the only way, dude. Unless, and you know what? All the power to you, Eric Stamets. Come out hitting 400 in minor leagues, and then your pathway to the majors will shorten significantly.
Yep.
I guarantee
Yep.
it.
So prove it. Prove it, Stamets.
There you go.
Prove it. That's how you become a major leaguer.
Cobra with a great transition here, asking 14-team playoffs?
Oh,
Question
yes.
mark? Question mark?
Yes.
That's pretty cool.
That is something that we were talking about before. And the reason why there's a question mark is because we have no idea, because the CBA is not done yet.
Yeah.
But reading off this headline here, the MLBPA reportedly willing to reopen talks on a 14-team playoffs. As we all remember, in that little hectic Monday, Tuesday we had this past week, they settled on the 12-team playoffs, which I was actually kind of upset about. I'm like, okay, 12 is better than 10, right? But 12 is okay. But 14 is a lot cleaner and a lot better. More teams can get in. Now, this might help with the talks and trying to bridge that gap. Like, okay, MLB, because this is something that MLB really wanted. Hey, we can give you more TV, more postseason airtime, more teams are going to be in the postseason, more money.
Yeah.
If you could, because you're going to get more money, you got to meet us a little bit closer.
Reasonable
So
what
do
to
you
me.
think? What do you think? Is that a nice strategy?
I like that. I like that they're reportedly willing to reopen the talks.
I like it too.
Because frankly, the closest that we got numbers-wise was when they were including the 14 team.
Yes. And that's what they cared about. The MLB really care about that.
Like they were adding on like an additional 20 million, like an additional, several percentile points in whatever it was that we were looking at. Like there was significantly a lot closer. And if you're the players, you got to imagine, well, this is only going to help us too. Like we probably want this as well.
Yeah, you do.
It's going to give us a fighting chance. So for them, like they should obviously want to include this.
And I don't think it's been talked enough, but it was mentioned really early. And the reason why the players also want it, they haven't really talked about it, like that they want it because they know the MLB really wants it.
Right.
But like that's going to help teams tank less.
Yeah,
and that's what the players, they don't want that. They don't want tanking teams.
No, exactly, dude. It's like if I'm an elite-ass player on a crap-ass ball team, I hate my life. And then all I care about is getting paid. But if I know that there is a significant shot right here where it's like, hey, like literally just slightly less than half of the teams are going to make it into the postseason. Why in the F are we not going for this thing right now? It's like that is a reasonable concern, and it's going to mean a lot more teams, a lot more fringe squads should be buying in. They shouldn't be totally selling off all their guys. The Seattle Mariners had a great season last year. They deserve to be in the dance. So did the Blue Jays. Both of us make it now.
Agreed.
Both of us make
Cincinnati Reds, we were talking the other day. They might make it.
They should have got in as well. They should have got in as well.
Yep, absolutely. Well, just a reminder, guys. Like, look, like they're only $18 million away from a CBT. That might help the MLB. MLB's at 220. The Union's at 238. This might help the MLB get a little bit closer. They're really close on the minimum salary. I think that's going to be no problem. That's like the next thing to be tied up.
Yeah.
But the big one is the pre-hour pool. I think it's like $55 million or something like that craziness. So hopefully that can get a little bit closer. We have no idea when the talks are going to be coming out. We're also going to probably make a clip out of this, and whenever this comes out, hopefully it's already started.
God damn it. Yeah, you can only cross your fingers and hope, man. Have you actually heard anything about the conversations that are going on right now? Like, I know that they're open to doing this again, but yesterday they were meeting informally. Everything has slowed down, guys. And this is what I was saying directly after we missed that initial deadline. Everything is slowed down to a place where it's like, oh, like, we got way more time.
Dude, but apparently it's the MLB. That's what I'm hearing from the media, at least. Apparently it's the MLB. Like, apparently the MLB PA is like, guys, we're here. Let us know. Let us know when you can talk.
Right.
You know, Tony Clark's out here like, guys, we're still here. Talk with us. Let's do it. Let's do it this day. They're just not responding. So.
Well, that's ridiculous.
It is, yeah, for real.
Like, that's just...
Guys, if we literally go another week, we're gonna have to lose another 2 series.
That's gonna be what it is.
And that's
I'm
gonna lose another 2 at this rate. There's nothing happening.
We're gonna lose another 2, guaranteed.
We're gonna lose another
bunch
4,
more.
5, 6.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, I was actually looking at a great article talking about if they had to guess what is going to be opening day, and a few of I think there was like 3 or 4 analysts. One of them was very skeptical. He was saying that he thinks that opening day is gonna be what do you say, like July 1st or some shit? Oh, God, no. I was like, don't do me like this. Don't do me like this, man. But most of the analysts were saying they think, and this is, I think, a little bit optimistic, but I do think is reasonable, May 1st is when they had it.
That's what I'm hoping at least.
And I agree. I think that at least you got to hope, like, May 1st. Yeah. Like, that means a month of baseball is gone. That means that realistically, roughly 25 games are probably lost. Maybe just slightly more than that, but about 25 games probably per team have been lost. We're still looking at a 135 game season. That's still a very good season of baseball. There's going to be a lot of games. We'll get into it, 60 games into it. We're going to totally forget about all of this 2 months down the line, right? So, like, that will be fine, I think. If that can happen, I will be okay.
Me too. And I got the lead negotiations for what happened the other day. This was actually not today, the headline suggesting. This was yesterday. Well, right here in the second paragraph, what's on the agenda isn't clear, talking about what they're talking about. Though it's at least mildly encouraging to see that 2 key representatives meet just days after the deadline set by the MLB passed. After the last deadline, 6 weeks transpired before the blah, blah, whatever. Yeah, so 2 lead people just kind of met. I don't know.
Importance. We're talking about important crap.
Yep. And they didn't really talk about much. So good stuff. Good stuff, guys. When do you want them ideally? Ideally, I want them to start talking like tomorrow. But
right.
We would already know if they were going to talk tomorrow by now.
Yeah.
I'm hoping by like max Monday they're back at it. That'd be good.
That'd be good, yeah. And I mean, like seriously back at it for real, you know?
Back at it. Like where they were a week ago.
JD's third says 12 teams is enough in my opinion. Maybe so. I like the idea of 14 just because, like, I mean, right now I feel pretty good about getting in the playoffs this year, even if it was 10 or 12 teams. But if you're a fringe squad, like that makes it just that much more exciting, you know. And like there were so many teams like last
fringe.
Year that it was just like
the Reds, like we were saying, the Seattle Mariners, us, like.
And it also means too that it's like you're gonna get the occasional 500 ball club squeaking in. Yeah. Which can be kind of exciting sometimes, you know. It's just like, hey, like, yeah, like we probably don't deserve to be here. Yeah. But like, we're here, and if we just get hot at the right time, like.
And the thing is, you're going to be facing off against the Tampa Bays and the LA Dodgers and all these monster teams. So it's like, okay, well, like, you shouldn't win, but if you beat them, it's like, that's cool.
That's cool. That is cool, right? And it's just like, if they lose to you, like, that's their own fault.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, it's just like, you had the easy route, guys. It's like you got the 82, the 80, or 81 team, right?
Yeah. Whereas, like, when you win that, like, top seed, it's like, okay, well, now you're facing off against another, like, 93, 94 team. So, yeah, you got 98, 99, 100, but it's like, you're both so elite. But you're
basically so elite.
You're basically the same, you know?
Victoria Gallant says, go Jays. Shut up. NP Leader Winter says, who would replace Rob Manfred and how is my dad? Nick, very good. Your dad is very good right now, big guy. Yeah, he's doing chill. 1 margarita in, we're having a good time. But who would replace him? And then JD's third says, Derek Jeter for MLB commissioner. Who would replace Rob Manfred?
You have to have someone who's already an MLB exec, and I've said 1,000 freaking times, I don't know if he will be the guy, but I think this is the only guy that'll bring peace between the players and the MLB execs, is if you get a legendary player like Ken Griffey Jr. himself to be an MLB commissioner. I think it's the only way.
Let's get Charlie Montoya.
plays bongos at the meetings.
Let's get Charlie Montoya to be the
that might work.
Yeah, dude.
It would work.
I think. Okay, actually, I don't think it would, dude. I think it.
No.
I don't think it would, because Charlie Montoya. The problem with Charlie Montoya, if he was actually commissioner instead of Rob Manfred. I mean, I think that Charlie Montoya would want what's best for everybody involved, but I feel like, and maybe this is doing him a little bit dirty. Maybe I'm doing a little bit dirty here. But I feel like the indecisions would be quite a lot. There'd be a lot of indecisive nature involved in Charlie Montoya and all the pressure being put on him.
It's true.
Like he gets a lot of pressure as the Jays manager, but like I don't know how he's gonna stack up to what Rob Manfred's going through right now. You know, like I will give Rob Manfred that. Like you have a pretty damn thick skin. You're inept. You're absolutely inept. You're not listening. But it's like you are getting absolutely crapped on nonstop by not only fans, but also the players too. They hate you. Everybody hates you.
Dude, I think I said this like last podcast. I was like, do you think that Rob Manfred obviously he's got to know how much people hate him.
Yeah.
So it's like, do you think that because he knows how much people hate him, that he just like doesn't really care anymore?
No,
he just keeps going down.
You reach a level where it's like you have to turn off all of it. You have to.
Or maybe he like, what if he low-key loves it?
What,
he
the
sees
hate?
all the hate on Twitter. He's like, yes. He's like, I'm here for like 4 more years, bitch. Or whatever, how long he's here. He's suffer.
I can't possibly imagine that is what's going through his head,
He's
man.
dancing and money. It's falling on him.
Well, but that's part of it, too.
It could be. I don't know what he does
I don't know what his goddamn
time.
salary is, but I imagine that... Actually, can you look up what Rob Manfred's salary is? It's probably stupid money, man. Like, for what? You know what I mean? Like, for what? What is this guy getting paid for? All this money could probably be going towards Ukraine right now.
For real,
How much money is he get, this fucking guy? Rob Manfred, net worth $11 million salary.
And he's worth $30
million a year. He gets paid.
Wow.
That's a lot of money, dude.
That is a lot of money.
That's
more than Randall Grichuk.
That is more than Randall Grichuk.
Huh. You know what? It's funny. I thought it was going to be more.
I did think it was going to be more, too.
It was going to be like 30, 40 million.
Right.
Wow. That's a decent amount, actually.
That's solid. Okay, you know what? Actually, you're right. That's solid, but not as many as I thought.
Yeah, I was thinking he makes like Max Scherzer type money. Like annually.
Yeah, or like 30. You know, like
30 a year. Yeah.
Like $11 million is still like crap load of money when you think about it.
Oh yeah. Definitely.
But then again, let's put it in perspective. He puts up a Randall Grichuk performance.
He puts up a worse than Randall Grichuk performance, dude.
Probably.
He's not worth $11 million.
No. But he's a below average commissioner. He's a bench commissioner.
He's a bench, dude.
You know?
He's a bench bat. He should not be $11 million.
That's the thing. Yeah.
So he's getting overpaid. He's overrated.
He's getting overpaid, and he's not putting up.
Who made that deal? That's a loss.
That's
of a deal.
Stupid. Yeah.
That's like top 5 worst deals in baseball.
Who pays him?
Like the league, because I guess they have like a cut.
But like all of because who is the league? Like is everybody involved?
Because they got to pay the commissioner, right? The accountant just divvies up the.
But and how does the commissioner get paid? Like they voted on this shit.
I mean, I think it's kind of like how does the president get paid? It's like there's like a constant salary that they always get paid.
Oh, I'm sorry, I missed. But like, how did he get in there? Like they all voted.
Oh, they vote. Manfred. Yeah, they vote.
Like all the elites vote.
Yeah.
And they decided on that's stupid.
That's why it's corrupt, because they just choose the guys who are gonna make them more rich. And Manfred's the guy.
Yeah.
They're not gonna choose Ken Griffey Jr.
No.
He's the guy who would solve the problem.
No.
I truly believe
they would never do that, because they know that he's got their best interest, or the players' best, or he at least maybe he doesn't even have that. Here's the thing why it needs to be probably somebody who understands both realms, because Ken Griffey Jr. he understood what it was like to be a player, and now he is learning what it's like to be an executive.
Yeah, exactly.
And there are trials and there are tribulations that are probably attributed to both of these positions that the everyday MLB player or the everyday owner does not understand about the other side.
Exactly.
And therefore having somebody who can get into both and be like, fuck, it's really hard to be an executive because of X, Y, and Z. But also I totally understand those players where they're coming from. So like,
what's a
how
happy
can
medium?
we like get to the place where it's
medium?
like, I won't be totally pissed off as my executive, but like you can also support your family.
I agree, man. I absolutely agree. Also, Alana's saying A-Rod for Rob Manfred or Rob M. Imagine A-Rod's commissioner. We're not going anywhere because you know what happened. You never seen the Juice or was it Screwball? You never seen a documentary.
No.
So Rob Manfred was helping A-Rod get not juice like steroids, but help getting him like performance enhancing drugs. So that's just more corruptness. Like that wouldn't help at all.
Jeez. And Rick Yu says Roger Goodell is getting paid $60 million. So that's the NFL commissioner. That is a lot of money.
But he's also like probably good.
Well, here's the thing. That is the thing. Like I've heard Roger Goodell might not be the best human being ever, but at the end of the day, like let's face it, what is he doing for the NFL? Making it the biggest sport in North America.
Yeah, exactly.
So like
exactly. It was
you can't argue with the results, right? It's like who did we have perform at the goddamn Super Bowl? Like Eminem, Kendrick Lamar, like just all of the elites. Who performs the World Series? No one.
I don't think any, there's even a chance.
They don't even do that. They don't even do it, But it's like that's the stuff. Like if you had a like maybe like fan centric or like somebody who wants to make baseball more entertaining, like you'd find a way to include just stuff like that. You'd find a way
before
to make
the game because you couldn't do it in the middle of the game.
No, they're in the rhythm, dude. They're in the rhythm. Yeah, because it's like I know I've heard people toss out things like the 7th inning stretch, having it in, but you can't do that because like
starting pitcher's still going.
No, exactly. Done. Like you can't. It's like you got to be once you're in the game, you're in the game. But you could have a awesome pre-show.
Yeah,
you could have you could have crazy good stuff like that. So I mean, there's definitely room for fun crap to go on.
Dude, and the broadcasting, I think I made a tweet about this the other day, like the broadcasting, like literally like it can be changed so much. It can be made so much better, so much more interactive because like when you're a new person going in, you're like, "Wait, what is all this stuff?" Like you're not really like explained at all like anything. You can make it more visually entertaining and simple. Like there's ways you could do it, Yeah,
I remember when I was first becoming a baseball fan, I was intimidated as to what it was that they were fucking talking about.
Yeah.
It's because I was like, what are you guys saying, right? It's like there's just inherent things about the game that you don't understand if you haven't either, played it your whole life or have been watching for an extended period of time, right? And you're right, just a simple overlay or a simple, just a graphic that flies up every now and again about like blank
explain something.
It's like this would fix it so easily.
Because the whole part of the game that isn't really talked about. It's talked about when they're talking about it while the at bat's going sometimes. But like to the casual fan, you're like, what are you saying? It's like get a visual representation of like, okay, look against him. Look where he's putting the fastball inside on the hands. He's putting it there 80% of the time, and then he throws the changeup away. It's like, okay, so clearly he's establishing like this is where I'm going to throw it, and then this changeup will trick him and then make him go and like miss the bat. That's his wipeout pitch.
Yeah,
it's like that shit. Like that's the shit when you're watching. You're like, I don't get it. Why did he missed? He just missed. It's like, well, why did he miss?
Right,
because he fucking fooled him.
Also, too, though, like even simpler. Well, maybe not simpler stuff. Maybe like same level, but it's like similar like conversations about what do all of the slash lines mean? What is most important? What is what is this guy? Why is he slashing that?
And I think no one knows what's most important. That's the thing.
Well,
Nobody
really understands, and it's like they think we understand. It's like most money gets put on the on base as being the most important statistic. But I mean,
people said war. That's what war's trying to do.
So fucking
They're trying to make war like the stat.
I hate war so much.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. The war doesn't account for. It's like you need to play more to get a better war.
Yeah.
If you don't play enough, then you can't get a good war.
And you know what war just doesn't make sense to me. So we're gonna have time to cover this, but they were releasing some projections for the Blue Jays projection site, like basically an algorithm that looks into
we can look at it next week.
Or not the war, but like everything that a player's going to do. And they were looking at Vladdy, and Vladdy's slash was actually going to be slightly better than what it was this past year.
Yeah.
But he was going to have in their projection a much lower WAR.
Yeah, what?
I don't understand.
What?
You know, like I don't understand where it's coming from. And WAR is just so goddamn stupid because there's so many sites that have so many and
They
like,
all have different
and it's
wars.
like they literally vary by a lot.
Because the site creates the war.
Yeah.
Those sites create
You know,
war.
and it's like one
Fangraphs,
player
reference.
that Fangraphs thinks is like elite. Baseball Reference is like average.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's like, okay, well, how can I possibly look at this statistic and think to myself, oh yeah, like that's the be all and the end all?
They
It's
just
impossible.
don't have, they don't, and that's why when they talked about like WAR being the determining factor of who's in the top 30 player pool, it's okay, which WAR are you going to pick?
Literally.
Are you going to finally come to, are you going to now MLB regulate the stat WAR and say this is it now?
Yes.
Are you going
Which needs to happen.
It
right?
needs to happen.
You know, it's like,
Do it.
and they need to, and the problem is too, even if they did that, how do I know that their WAR is actually accurate for what it's trying to say?
Yeah,
because I don't think that they know.
Yeah, no, they don't, and that's the problem. So, but keep it simple, guys. On base, slugging OPS for some power, and then batting average. It's
And
simple as that.
also too, it's just like a little bit of a goddamn eye test needs to happen.
Yeah, look at your eyeballs, or I mean, use your eyeballs to look at the guy,
Uh-huh.
and see if he's good.
Yes, that does need to happen a lot more because sometimes I get locked into the page numbers and I just look at the page numbers and I need to look at like what this dude's actually doing, the ABs that are happening, and you know what? This is stupid shit, but it's like, what does he look like when he's coming up to the plate? You can tell right away that Juan Soto was going to be a fucking star. I don't care the numbers that this guy has. It's like just the way that he walks up to the thing.
Same with Bo Bichette.
The way that he looks at you, it's like, this is going to be a goddamn star.
Do you ever notice when Bo Bichette, whenever it's a serious and actual moment where it requires focus, and it's like there's a runner in scoring position that needs, this is the time runner, go ahead and run. You notice the change?
Totally.
He's literally, and he takes more. He's like way more calm. He's not chasing, and he does it so with such confidence.
You gotta like slow the moment down as
Yeah.
much as possible.
Yeah, and he does it. And I wish I mean, maybe I don't know if he can, but I hope that he does that all the time.
Right.
You know, he incorporates that all the time.
Problem is like I don't know if he's capable of doing it. I don't know if anyone's capable of doing it honestly, because it's like that's like your superpower too. And then it's like you start
X factor.
you start getting in your head about like, well, when the moment does come, then you try to like slow it down even more, and then you go fucked up, and it's like
they're like, wait, a ball?
yeah.
now
It's
you're
like,
just
like now you're like
you're so slow. It's like,
yeah. It's like you gotta play baseball a little bit easy, you know.
Yeah, I agree.
Mantis Toboggan, Baseball Reference is the only war anyone looks at. Maybe so,
Maybe.
dude, but it's like there are a bunch of wars out there with a bunch of different things going on in them that are just like, I don't even know. I don't know what they use. And the thing is, too, is like, I'm too dumb. Actually, no, it has nothing to do with my dumbness. I believe to be an intelligent human being. But when you look at the equation on war,
it's a literal
it's
mathematician.
like this is a complete different language to me. I have no understanding of what any of this means.
Yeah.
I don't know what the values are. I don't know even if you put that on a test, I would fail.
Because we didn't study math.
I don't know how to do that equation.
We don't know, and 95% of people don't. Actually, probably 99.
Way more than that.
99% of people
Yeah.
don't know how to do that.
Literally, bro.
Anyways.
And maybe that's why we need to make an equation that's a little bit fucking simpler.
Just make it simple.
You
Why
know?
does it have to be so complicated? That's when it starts to get weird. Like, why is this thing worth more than that thing? It's like, who decided that?
Yeah.
Math nerd?
Dummies.
You dumb math nerd?
Anyways,
All right.
guys, we're running to the end of the Wine Unwind right now. The boys are going to have a poker evening that we're going to do. So we'll see how the war goes for each of us by the end of the evening, you know. Probably. Well, that one's easy to determine.
That was easy.
Who's got the most chips?
Got chips.
Who's got the most chips?
Very easy.
Yeah, so.
But are you factoring in card odds? Like if my cards didn't work out properly, but I earned this much amount, or I only lost this amount, does it mean that I did a good job for what I was given?
It's a short sample size. We need to play 1,000 poker games and then see the amount of chips we have after that. Then we will truly understand. But this is number one.
I see. Or we have to do it where it's like, okay, we're huge It's like if we were given the same amount of hands in the same situations, what would we do? That would be
yeah, we're not gonna do that though, because I'm gonna drink some beers, so is Adam, so is other people. But guys, comment down below your thoughts about everything that's going on right now in baseball, when it's gonna come back, what Ross Stripling had to say, or who's underrated, who's overrated, all the stuff. And I hope that all of you have a lovely weekend. You guys have earned it. It's Friday. You worked really hard this week. Chill, lay back, have a beer, have some wine, talk to your family, show some love, masturbate, do other things. It'll be a great weekend. Yeah.
Do it all. Give yourself that self-love, guys. That's what you need, because you need to remind yourself that you love yourself.
Yeah, 100%, guys. Thank you so much for watching.
And go Jays, go!